everyone, and welcome to the W2 Report Live, the COVID-20 scare featuring Zaxtor99. Now, before we turn ourselves over to the guest, we got some ground rules to lay down. First off, it should go without saying that we do not encourage, condone, or imply that our subjects of this week's discussion should be subject to a hate campaign. It is in very poor taste, and it will get you banned in many places, including but not limited to my channel. Do not do this. Second, any topic of discussion in regards to our subject's far-reaching implications, implied or otherwise, is not considered an endorsement of any view that was discussed. Before we go into our little discussion, first off, let us say hello to Zaxtor99. Welcome to the stream.
How's it going, Sanji? Hello, everybody.
I'm doing all right, and we already have some chatters in the room. I probably have seen it. I just haven't remembered what it was. Get Positive Gamer. It's just so let's start on your background here, Zaxter. So how did you come to becoming a YouTuber, and why have you kept doing it all these years?
That's a very good question. A question I didn't expect there, Sanji. I became a YouTuber. I created my YouTube account way back in, I believe, the end of 2007. And at that time, it was really only to, my idea was to make a YouTube account so that I could comment on other videos that, that I was watching, things like that. And then maybe a year after I created my account, I think I showed like video of the park when my ex-wife and I would take the kids, our young kids at the time, to the park or whatever, just silly stuff like that. So I didn't put up that much video content. I know I have a country concert we went to where I was showing, the concert in one of my videos, and that was probably not fair use because that's actually distributing copyrighted content that I probably shouldn't have done, but I never got struck down for it. I never, I guess they either found it or whatever. I mean, I had hardly any views and no subscribers at that time. Probably in around 2009, 2010 is when I started creating my first video game content and learning that I could, record video game content and then upload it. Didn't start streaming, I don't think, until 2013, 2014, somewhere there. But by that time, I had quite a few videos of me playing games and stuff like that. And I just kind of felt like, hey, video gaming is a passion of mine, and I might as well record it while I'm playing it. Somebody else might enjoy it. Maybe somebody that doesn't have a computer that can play the kind of game I can play, or somebody else that, whatever. I just felt like if somebody else might enjoy it, and my videos did get a few views. So I think I continue to do it. It's always been a passion of mine. Video games have been a passion of mine, and over the years, my channel has evolved into more than just gameplay. It's evolved into me sharing cooking videos, how-to videos of different things I come across, just anything in my life, really. And now, I've grown to a little bit bigger size. Definitely not where I hope to be yet, but 18,000 subscribers is at least something to keep me motivated to keep making content.
Now, can you explain to the audience here who may be unfamiliar with your work the concept of miss?
All right, well, so miss video at the time, I mean, Steam basically became my platform of choice probably in around 2013, 2014 is where I started buying all my games. I remember before Steam really became a place where I went to buy my digital games. I remember back in 2009, 2010, I bought most of my games on a website called Direct to Drive. And, because I don't think I was aware of Steam yet, or Steam wasn't mainstream yet. So a lot of my games I bought on a website called Direct to Drive, where I could download the digital format and not have to go to the store and, pay for the hard copy, which I could lose a disc or whatever. So I always preferred to kind of buy, the downloads, even on my PlayStations and stuff over the years. But then when Steam became my mainstream, we started becoming more mainstream and became my platform of choice to download content. I noticed even way back in like 2013, 2014, there was quite a bit of trash that was being uploaded to Steam. And I have a number of reviews, and back then I used to get really upset. So the funny thing is a lot of people think that I get so upset now at these indie developers because they're making trash and maybe making, getting more glorified or getting money than I do on my own 2D games, whatever. No, actually, the fact is I used to get really angry at some of these really bad games way before I ever even thought about selling my own games on Steam. So, I just had so many garbage games that I reviewed back over the years, and one that comes to mind is a Game Guru game called Ivan versus Nazi Zombies. Game is no
Oh, I
longer on
remember
Steam
that one.
anymore. Yeah, that one, and Solar System Conflict was another one that I really blew by top, and that one a lot of people thought it was funny. It got a lot of views, but that was way before Miss. And so in 2018, I finally decided, I was like, I need a category, like a playlist for all these really bad games. And so at that point, I decided to make two different playlists. One for all the trashiest games I come across, the really low effort stuff. So if I play a game and I feel like there's really not a lot of effort put into it, it usually has a very high chance of going into my Miss series, which I think there's almost 140 of those now since 2018. And
Let's see here. At the present time, and we are going to get into this. There are 138 misses.
138 misses as of today. Yep. And there could be more, but I'm kind of holding back right now with the current DMCA strike on my video, which we'll get into as well. But I also wanted to create a list, a category for all the best little indie gems that I come across on my channel as well. And so if I believe that a game not only shows exceptional effort, creativity, and something unique on the Steam platform, something that delivers a great bang for your dollar as a gamer, those go into kind of the best of the best goes into my Zaxtor99 Gold category. And I think there's only like 40 something of those. I think there's 48 of those now since the same time frame around 2018. So Miss is basically, my Miss series stands for maggot infested stinky shit. Just something kind of clever, trying to be as clever as this developer with his COVID-20 name, So Miss was maggot infested stinky shit, where I throw all the worst of the worst shit that I find on Steam, some of the lowest effort stuff that I find on Steam, and a bad developer, like not only a bad developer, a bad behavior developer that can't take critique of his game could also be subject to going into my Miss series. And then basically the best of the best little indie gems that I find go into my Zaxtor99 Gold.
Well, let's not keep the folks waiting. Let's get right into it. Why did you decide to review COVID-20?
COVID-20 was a game that my good buddy Road G, he used to be Road 85. Him and I have been friends since we met in Hurt World way back, I believe, at the end of 2015. And he decided to cover this game, and I'm like, this totally looks like a Miss game. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna review it because I was like, I saw Road's video and how he did it. I felt like he didn't. It looked really bad. I only watched part of his review at that time. He had a really quick review. I think it was 6 minutes or something. I don't. And he basically threw it in the asset flip category. I was like, I think there's more that we can explore about this game. Perhaps I can even find a way to help the developer make it better. Who knows? So I decided to go ahead and buy it at that time as well and do a video. I think we both bought it the same day. And I just went into my review of it. And that's why I decided to buy this particular game. It also looked a lot like a game I had played about a week earlier called Plan Z. The gameplay looked very similar to that. So I'm like, well, this looks a lot like Plan Z, another asset, very, very similar type game where you could buy guns off the wall and, basically shoot a bunch of zombies spawning all over the place coming at you. So, yeah, that's why.
Okay, now here comes the main event, the DMCA. You told me before the pre-show meeting that you had a reason that you suspected a reason why ADHD Games decided to DMCA your video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
yeah.
get into that. Okay, so with that, let me go ahead and explain exactly how, first of all, my first video of COVID-20, my first video coverage, I used to do a lot of my video reviews. I would record them, edit them, and then put them up. But lately, just to save time, energy, and give people kind of my first impressions, my real first impressions without cutting anything out, a lot of them have become live streams of first impressions of games. So people will be right there. Basically, if I'm missing something, maybe they can say, "Hey, why don't you try going over here?" So that way I don't, hit the game on something that I'm missing that somebody else could catch or whatever.
Right.
So it helps in that regard as well. But COVID-20, my first coverage of that was a live stream, and it was about a 35-minute live stream, I believe. And I'll be completely honest with COVID-20. When I first played COVID-20, especially after seeing the trailer and seeing my boy Road basically throw it as an asset flip and shit all over it, basically, I got into the game expecting the worst of the worst right off the bat. And I also expected something as bad or worse than Plan Z a week earlier. The game initially was better than I expected. Like, I was actually having more fun than I was expecting. The biggest gripe I had was, as I played, was that zombies seemed to be spawning right in behind me. And there was like invisible walls and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was kind of glitchy looking, stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I understand this game is completely made out of assets and there's not a ton of effort put in. But I also understood it looked like this was this developer's first game, because it shows this is the developer's first game on Steam, which I had looked at before I started. And I was like, if this developer is new to making games, if he put in some effort here and maybe even bought new zombie assets, he might have a reasonably fun game. And with that video, I'm like, yes, there was a lot of shit. And I basically went over some of the stuff. I gave him ideas on how he could fix his invisible walls, for example. I was like, you could fix these invisible walls. I was like, game players do not like looking like they can run up a hill, for example, and then hitting an invisible wall. I was like, it feels like shit, and it kind of gives us a bad. And I basically explained all this in my first live stream, and I'm like, dude, get you a freaking, go to the Unreal Asset Store. This game's all assets anyway. Go to the Unreal Asset Store, buy you a tall cyclone, like a fence, right, with like barbed wire at the top or whatever. It would fit this, and then basically take that one piece of cyclone fence and put it all around your border. That way people can see the fence and they're not feeling like they're hitting an invisible wall. I tried to help the developer in that first live stream. And with that, I basically told him ideas on how I thought he could make the game better. For example, anytime you took a hit from a zombie, it would damage you. But if you got away for just a couple of seconds, your health would instantly restore like super fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a slow health increase. It was like way too fast. And I'm like, dude, do away with this like really fast health regeneration. If you take damage, you take damage. And one of my suggestions was to put, he had all kinds of places where you could buy guns and different ammo and stuff like that. I'm like, put another machine where you can buy health, but make it be expensive. I suggested that. So I was really trying to help the developer. I was giving him ideas on also how he could, spawn the zombies in better, so zombies didn't feel like they're spawning in right behind you. I gave him ideas on how he could make the game more fun. For example, I said basically make this like a 3D tower defense game where you're trying to protect something from the zombies. Because in most tower defense games are 2D, and you're trying to protect a core element or whatever from getting hit by the enemies. I'm like, make this be a thing where you also go in and do a little AI with the zombies instead of having them always attack you. If they're not around you, have them go to the core. But I said, at the time, I suggested have a woman that you're trying to protect. You're trying to save her life, and she's chained up or roped down and she can't move. And so you basically have to go and find different elements to free her while you're also trying to protect her from the zombies. And I said, maybe if you get enough money and stuff like that, you can place down, turrets and stuff like that could shoot the zombies or whatever. I was like, so I was giving him all kinds of ideas on how I thought he could make the game way better. But of course, that would require effort. At the time, I didn't know the kind of developer I was dealing with. I had no idea when I did that first review. But I ended up taking that live stream down almost immediately, because I think I gave the developer a little bit too much praise, and there was a couple of little awkward moments in the stream. So I'm like, took it down. I edited it from 35 minutes down to about 25 minutes, and I basically put it back up. And with that video, what happened is I ended up getting a whole bunch of like, it looked like the same user. I suspected the comments were coming from the developer himself. It just didn't feel like different people, and they were all basically bashing me, saying I was an idiot because I didn't like the game and I didn't know how to play a game, just all kinds of stuff attacking me. And then the video also had like 12 likes and 200 and something dislikes within hours.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this developer is obviously, paying for dislikes, or maybe he has 200 different accounts. I don't know, but it was all, all the dislikes are coming from, or most of the dislikes are coming from the developer himself. That much was obvious. Been doing YouTube a long time.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? So at that point, after a few hours of that nonsense going on, I'm like, all right, fine. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this. This game doesn't deserve 25 minutes of my time and my trying to help this developer out, etc. So I cut it down to 13 minutes at that point. I took it down, edited it down to 13 minutes, put it back up. It was still the same. A lot of it was still the same kind of helpful tone, the nice tone, trying to help them out and stuff like that. But at the very end of it, I basically explained why the developer's own actions, or what I believe to be the developer's own actions, caused me to cut it down and change it from a not recommended game. Because I initially said that. I said, I can't recommend this game. It's too buggy. There's not enough to put in. It's too bland. It's just a zombie shooter where you're just endlessly shooting zombies for no reason or purpose. So I said, I can't recommend this game, but I said, put some work into it, stuff like that, and I'll review it. Well, at the end of my edited video that went down to 13 minutes, I basically explained that the reasons why I changed it to a missed video based on what seemed to be the developer's own reaction to my video. And that 13-minute video is, I also, at the very end of the video, and I'll explain this here, this is why I think the developer might have DMCA'd me. Because my video was, for example, I feel like my video was way more positive and helpful towards the developer, constructive criticism, shall we say, than Sid Alpha's view of the game and his recent video of the game, where he basically ripped the developer apart, ripped the game apart. I feel like I had a lot more constructive criticism that could have helped the developer in my review. And so why did he DMCA mine, but he hasn't DMCA'd Sid Alpha's, for example, or other videos? And I've seen a couple of other videos where people are basically shitting the game as well.
Actually, sorry to interrupt, but the developer did file a privacy complaint with YouTube over Sid Alpha's video.
Yes, they did, because it showed his name in the copy or the DMCA strike against my video, just in case anybody wants to know. But anyway, yeah, so the 13-minute video that was taken down, right? Even though it was still mostly positive and stuff like that, and I explained why I changed his game to a missed video, I don't even think you changed it into a missed video is what sparked this developer. And I could be wrong. This is just my hunch. But I don't even think you changed it to a missed video is what sparked what caused this developer to file the DMCA on this particular, the 13-minute video. Mm-hmm. At the end of the 13-minute video, which you guys will see in probably about a week or so, that video will go back up, unless he decides to try to take me to court for damages, for making a fair use video, which I don't see that happening. I've dealt with this almost 37 times over the years now, where a developer will get angry about my fair critique of a game and file a DMCA strike. It's happened a lot. I've dealt with this a lot over the years, as you can see. And I know that at one point, somewhere this developer basically said, I can't believe that he's had 37 videos. He must be, he must be a hater or something like that. No, there's just so much shit on Steam that there's a lot of bad games that have gotten bad reviews from me, and a lot of developers just can't take criticism.
Just can't take
even constructive criticism. Yeah, if you can't take the heat. So if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. That's the first thing I'm going to say. But anyway, yeah, at the end of that 13-minute video, I showed his Steam page on his COVID-20 game. Mm-hmm. And I happened to notice that he was getting a lot of positive reviews from Steam users that own one game. Usually most of them had private profiles, so they owned one game and had one review of his game and seemed to be praising it all to hell. So I'm like, first of all, this isn't a good game. And, it just seemed very suspect that his COVID-20 page, you guys can go look at the COVID-20 Steam page. It seemed very, very suspect that he seemed to have so many users that had one review and maybe owned one or two games. So if you guys go look at the reviews on his COVID-20 game, it is pretty suspect. I don't know if, I'm not going to say that he's purchasing reviews. I'm not going to say he has alternate accounts creating positive reviews. But when I stated that in that 13-minute video, And if he saw that, he might have wanted to try to protect people from hearing that. So that might be why he DMCA struck that video. Just a suspicion.
Yeah, and of course we actually have no evidence of that.
No, we don't. That's completely just a suspicion of why he struck that game. Because, like I said, otherwise than that, the review, even though it was a miss video, it wasn't like I was angry or tearing the game to shreds. I certainly wasn't attacking the developer.
It was your tone. Well, actually,
my tone.
It was your tone that triggered him, because it was helpful.
Yeah,
even though you called it a miss, but when you showed the Steam page, he probably had something to hide.
Could be, yeah. Who knows? I mean, at this point, I don't begin to comprehend this guy. I've seen this guy's responses. I've seen this guy's response to my email. My original email where I basically said, "Hey, this is a personal dude." Because you guys, I think a lot of people might have seen the first email image where he threatened me with violence and told me to quit messing with this shit. And basically that was his email. And basically he was, so a lot of people, nobody really has seen my response to that email, where the next day I wrote him quite a lengthy email basically saying, "Dude, this isn't personal. It's what I do on my channel. I said I give my opinion, which is fair use on a game." I didn't say fair use at the time because at the time he hadn't struck me yet. But I was like, it isn't personal. I was like, I try to give you a lot of feedback on how you can make your game better. I was like, I'm trying to help you. My video is trying to help you make your game better. I was like, it wouldn't take much effort to make your game a lot better. For example, putting a copy and pasting that cyclone fence around the border of your map would be pretty easy to do. I know in Unreal you can just copy and paste, assets all over the map whenever you want. So how hard would it be to, put a border, whether it be a cyclone fence or a wall or whatever, around your area where you have invisible walls now? Wouldn't take that long. Wouldn't take that much effort.
No.
But it doesn't seem this developer even wanted to try to do that instead. But basically, I gave him a lot of stuff in this email, trying to explain to him that, hey, I tried to help you. I tried to do this. And I explained everything. I was like, this wouldn't be that hard. Here, do this. It wouldn't be that hard. I was like, don't take this personally. I was like, it's nothing personal. It's and I basically explained to him, I was like, what if instead of giving you a negative review or saying not recommended on your Steam page and saying I can't recommend this, I was like, what if I didn't do a video and I simply went in and gave you a review on your game and said 10 out of 10, great game, nothing more, and gave it a positive review? I'm like, yeah, it might seem like you would think that's better for you, because it wouldn't be a negative, but how is that going to help you make your game better? It's not.
No.
So basically, I tried to explain to him that my review of your game is valuable. So many indie developers have used my negative critique or my constructive criticism in my reviews to go in and change their game and make their game twice as good or 3 times better because of my suggestions, because of what I see in a game or my ideas. And maybe they don't exactly take my idea or my suggestion to make their game better. For example, maybe they don't take the cyclone fence idea that I have, but maybe they go ahead and say, well, I'm going to put in a laser wall, or whatever. They use what I say to spark another idea on their own on how they can fix the problem and make it even better than what I suggest, for example. But yeah, if I'm just going in and saying, hey, great game, man, this is awesome, and just bullshitting and not giving you any ideas or telling you what's wrong, that doesn't help you. I know that as an indie developer myself. I know how hard it was to get my first negative review on Rock and Roll. But after a little bit of time, I was like, you know what? This guy gave me some reasons why he didn't like it. Let me go in and fix it. And for my first negative review, I do believe I was able to make Rock and Roll at least twice as good because of the negative review. Correct. So, but anyway, that is the reason I suspect that he might have ended up DMCA striking what I believe was a very positive negative video review and what could have been very helpful to him. Probably by far his most valuable review, and he DMCA struck what I consider what should have been a valuable review for him. Right.
So basically, what we have here is there was this disconnect between what they perceived as a big threat to them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're taking it out on you.
Seems like it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think, maybe this developer either doesn't have a lot of experience with taking criticism or fair critique. And I understand it completely. I understand how much it hurt to get my first negative review on my game. But there's a big difference between somebody going in and simply leaving a Steam review on your game saying shit game, 0 out of 10, and nothing more. There's a
Right.
big difference between that and someone like myself who goes in and makes a video review and tries to give you all the exact reasons why I think your game is shit, what you could do better, easy fixes that you could make to make your game twice as good.
Right.
Big difference between those kind of negative reviews and that negative feedback towards your game.
And I think because there was this disconnect, he had to find some reason in order to DMCA your video.
Mm-hmm.
And which if I were to look at the archive of his end user license agreement, which what part he did write is a piece of garbage in my opinion. It's just there's this long section in the EULA that it seems that he inserted in some manner, saying that we can copyright strike your video because you don't have basic permissions to stream the game and critique it and what have you.
Well, I will say this. I didn't really look at the EULA before I made a video, but simply because I know that all my reviews follow fair use.
Right.
Fair use law. You are allowed, you can write a EULA. I mean, a manufacturer of Sony, for example, could make Blu-ray players that sold at Best Buy and other retail outlets. You could basically say, hey man, you can't write any negative reviews online at all about this Blu-ray player. Sony could have you signing something like that, but you could still go out and make a review and say, hey, this Blu-ray player is a piece of shit, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You're still allowed to give your opinions because that's fair use. It's amazing to me that so many indie developers don't seem to comprehend what fair use law is, or that this developer, and as I'm sure we'll get into it, this developer here seems to believe that because he lives in the UK, fair use doesn't apply to him.
Or even the DMCA, for that matter.
Yeah, the DMCA.
But the basic facts is that he still DMCA struck the video, and
mm-hmm.
for what reason, we don't know. But we do know that it was a spurious takedown at worst, and malicious mm-hmm. at best, because he did say that he was going to get all the other developers who you covered in your Miss videos, and they're going to file DMCA strikes on you.
Yeah, that's what he wants to happen. So basically what he's saying is, hey, he's basically saying when I read that, and I read that comment under my original Steam review, which has now been banned, which we'll get into, I'm sure. But under my original Steam review, he did leave a comment saying that he was trying to encourage or incite other developers who I've made bad game reviews on to go in and DMCA strike my coverage of their games as well. And basically get me enough copyright strikes to have my channel removed. I will go ahead and say he's welcome to do that. Other developers that I've covered in the past are welcome to go in and DMCA strike videos if they want to break the law. This is the part that I don't think people and these indie developers don't understand. Filing a DMCA strike or not counter strike, but a strike against the video of a review that covers your game that is fair use, with the intent of only trying to hide that coverage or that review of your game, mm-hmm. without the intention of actually taking me to court or anybody to court. If you file a DMCA strike against the video and you are not doing it because you intend to take that person to court to sue them for copyright infringements, which you actually believe you can win, you're breaking the law. If you're taking it down to either be malicious or to try to hide the fair critique of your game, you are breaking laws. And it doesn't matter where you live. just because you say, hey, I live in the UK, or I live in Turkey, or I live in Russia, or wherever,
Right.
doesn't mean you are not subject to laws here in America. I live in America. YouTube's headquarters is here in America. So it doesn't matter if you live on the fucking moon and say, hey, there's no law up here. I can do whatever I want. No. When you're filing a DMCA counter-strike, you are going with the rules of where YouTube is headquartered and where the content you are removing is
Right.
based, which is right here in America. And people need to understand that.
Yeah. And oh wow, this is breaking news. Stephen Tate is saying Mello Online has teased an interview with ADHD Games.
Oh, wow. Okay. That should be interesting.
Um. Um. Now, you had some concerns about my live stream coming up. What was it? Just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And while we won't get into the details on that, there is a bit of a controversy involving what the I'm sorry, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts here.
No problem.
Yeah, because I basically asked you all the questions that I was going to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your next steps now that your counter notice has been filed with YouTube, and seeing that moving forward?
Well, the counter-strike was immediately, I believe he counter-struck my video on February 5th. And so I believe it was Friday, a week ago Friday, so about 9 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I filed the counter notification immediately against it because, it's not legal, and he has no right to do that. So I filed that almost immediately, but YouTube had to review it before they could send it over to him, and I believe they reviewed. I don't believe they sent it over to him until Monday or Tuesday of last week. So we're looking at 10 business days. So we're looking at probably a week from tomorrow, a week from Tuesday, the video should be back up. So I'm just going to wait on that. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life, so I'm not really that worried about it. I mean, this developer seems to be focusing way too much energy on trying to comment and blast and act like a victim on any kind of coverage of his game. So that's why I was mentioning yesterday, I would not be surprised if he shows up in your stream. He seems to be putting a lot of energy into going in and watching everybody's review or videos of his game, everybody's Steam review of his game, and basically trying to play the victim is what it seems like here. This developer, I want to go ahead and state, loud and clear about this developer. This developer is playing a victim. He is playing, and I've seen some of his comments, so I want to go ahead and make this real clear. This developer, when I first made my 25-minute video covering his game, basically trying to help him out and stuff like that, he sent me an email basically trying to, first of all, win sympathy from me, talking about his son and things that have happened with him and his son, and saying, hey, I'm a father myself, blah, 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 and trying to, it felt like it just felt really cheap. It felt like he was trying to connect with me in some way, like, hey, let me connect with this guy, and maybe he'll change his review or something to a positive. Even though I still feel my review was very valuable to him and gave him a lot of suggestions and feedback on how he can make his game better. That's how I helped him. And I was honest with him by telling him, hey, your game's not good right now. You need to do this, this, and this to make your game better. That's the best kind of critique you can get. Anyway, he didn't like that. I think he thought that if he connected with me in some way, I'd be like, oh, let me connect with this guy, and I'm going to change my negative to a positive because you're such a guy in my shoes or whatever. We had similarities or whatever. But then he went on to, it was very passive aggressive. He started that way, and then at the end of the email, as you guys saw, many of you guys saw the email, he went on to basically say, he said, I want to kick your fucking ass, and your content review of my coverage of my game, it makes me livid, and I want to kick your ass, something along those lines anyway. And then he said, stop fucking with my shit in the email. And so then again, I responded to his email, told him that don't take this personally, blah, blah, blah. And he responded, you guys will see all this when, this all kind of clears the air. I will go, I will release this content. The email coverage, I will release the first video that I put up so you guys can see the difference between my first video and the 13-minute video that I expect to come back up on my channel. Everything will be seen. And right now, this developer is acting like I am the bully and everybody else is the bully, and he's the victim, which is not the case at all. He's the one who, first of all, initiated an email to me, passive aggressive, threatening violence against me, how much he wishes he could harm me in real life, and then threatening me, saying, quit messing with my, quit fucking with my shit. He's the one that was the aggressor there, basically threatening violence and I better stop or else. He's the one who then on the 13-minute video filed a DMCA strike on my video against the law because he has no intentions of taking me to court. You and I both know that. So It was simply to try to remove the critique. He's the one that filed an illegal DMCA strike against me, right? He's the one now changing comments that I made under my Steam review, which you guys can still go see those comments under my review. It is easy to, get to those comments under my review, even though my review's been banned on Steam. And I'm going to talk about that as well. My review got banned on Steam because he reported my review to a moderator, and I believe he reported the Steam review because he felt like the review was me being a big meaty poo-poo head, to use Jim Sterling's words from years ago about digital homicide. So I do firmly believe he reported my Steam review to Steam, thinking that my review was being a big meaty, being a big meaty poo-poo head because I was saying, I was basically negatively reviewing it and giving reasons why I felt the game had a negative review, valid reasons. And Steam actually took down my Steam review because I posted images of the email that we're talking about here, and I had forgot to cross out his first name in that email. So he had, that's why Steam banned the review, just because you're not allowed to give out any personal information in any way in a review or forums or whatever, or it can be taken down. So he kind of got away with one there. I felt like he kind of lucked out on getting my Steam review removed. Not a big deal. I mean, it's a lesson learned by me. Yeah. But going back to this, his under those comments, he said, I basically engaged in a little bit of going back and forth with him and that. And I know that at the times I called his game a piece of shit or something like that. He is saying now that I called him a piece of shit. No, I have never called this developer anything like that. I've never directed any kind of names at him like that. He also says that I abused his son in a comment under Sid Alpha's video. Nothing like that has ever happened. And I am definitely asking him to provide proof of such doings.
Yeah, citation needed, folks.
Yeah, you need citations. You need proof. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk, and show us proof of me abusing your son, I believe was his words under Sid Alpha's video. Nothing like that has ever happened. In fact, I have never said anything about his son except in my email response, which you guys will all see in the coming days. You guys will see the entirety of the email context where I basically said, I wish you and your son the best. That's the only thing I ever said about his son. So, I have never abused his son in any way, shape, or form. So I just want to make that to be known. It's amazing to me that this guy is the one doing all the aggressing, all the personal attacks, everything that he's doing, and how he continues to act like he's a victim. And he's getting attacked by mobs and stuff like that just because people aren't buying his bullshit, and buying his victim, cries and stuff like that. It's pretty funny to me.
Yeah,
not funny. I guess the word is probably sad. I guess I can see how people could see it as entertaining, though. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and he even got passive aggressive on Sid Alpha in his review.
Mm-hmm.
He said, quote, I'm reading from the developer response here. As you said, nothing abusive. I have no reason to use UK law for the breach of EULA here. I'll let you keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very next morning, Sid Alpha reported that he got a privacy complaint.
Right. Because he showed an image of my DMCA strikedown, which showed his name in the video.
Right.
Which Sid Alpha has now just blurred out in his video so that his name is no longer seen. There is that. So Yeah, he is. I think he's being a lot more passive with Sid Alpha because of Sid Alpha's size and stature. Yeah, I don't think he wants to mess with Sid based on Sid Alpha's tone and his. I think he could basically see that I was being more of a nice guy in my video review, and he's like, "Oh, I can pick on this guy. I can DMCA Zaxtor. He seems like a nice guy." And Sid Alpha's tone, if you watch Sid Alpha's coverage of the game, Sid Alpha is more like has a lot more like he's not in the raw, but he has a lot firmer, deeper tone. Like he's pissed, like you could tell Sid Alpha during the whole thing was probably not only pissed because he had to play a shit game to cover it, but by the actions of the DMCA strike and other things with this developer. Sid Alpha was like, he was just pissed at that point, which is understandable. And I don't think based on Sid Alpha's tone in his video and his size on YouTube now with over 100,000 subscribers, I don't think this developer wants any part of trying to file a DMCA strike against Sid, because if I know Sid, like I think I know Sid, I don't think Sid would put up with it. I think Sid would not hesitate for a second to, file orders
legal
like,
part
for DMCA. He would fight back with all fury. Sid is a great guy. I want to go ahead and say thank you to Sid Alpha for covering my content, covering this game, and actually buying this game just to review it, just to basically stand behind my back and have my back. So Sid has been a long-time friend, and I can't thank him enough. And thank you enough as well, Sanjay, for offering to give me a platform to voice my current dealings and what's going on with me and what's going on with the game without risking putting a video up on my channel and getting another DMCA takedown, another illegal DMCA takedown by this developer.
Right. And even though he may be thinking about DMCAing me, let's make one thing clear by the fact that we have been displaying our conversation through Discord on the screen on right in front of you. I have no intention of showing copyrighted material on
gameplay.
COVID. Yeah, I have no intention of showing gameplay.
Giving him any ammo to try to file a DMCA.
Right.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't think YouTube even looks into it, but let's say that he did file a DMCA strike against you. You would think that YouTube would at least kind of scan over the video and say, hey, what is there to... This is just two people talking. Like, I would think YouTube wouldn't even, acknowledge his DMCA takedown of this video. I don't know, though. They may just take it down anyway and let you fight the fight in
deal
court.
With the fallout.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting, but if YouTube, if they even scanned over this video, they would say there's nothing here that you can file a DMCA on, and I would think they wouldn't take it down, but I don't know. So who knows?
Yeah. I think it's about time to wrap this up. Do you have any final thoughts?
I think that the only final thoughts I have is if you are a crafter, whether you're an indie developer or if you are a movie maker or you make a song or whatever in any kind of platform, whether you're a musician or whether you're a blogger or a video game maker or whatever, and somebody says that, hey, your painting isn't good, your painting isn't something I would buy, but I believe that you should do this, this, and this, and you should make sure you put, whatever. And they give you ideas on how you could make your painting, for example, better, your video game better, your song better. If people are really trying to help you, even just because they don't like what you've made, but they give you ideas and feedback on how you could make your game better, don't hate them. You should take that information, that feedback that they're giving you, and maybe not directly do everything they say, but at least understand that they are trying to help you become a better artist in whatever platform it is, and trying to help you make your product better. So don't bash them, and definitely don't try to, silence their critique of your whatever it is you made. So that's the only thing I can say is understand the difference between somebody actually hating and saying, oh, this is trash and walking away in disgust, and somebody actually trying to spend the time, take the time to help you make it whatever you've made even better and improve your craft. that's really all I have to say as final word. I want to go ahead and say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. If you're still watching this on Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
and stay safe out there.
Yeah, especially down here where I'm at. Ugh, 6 inches of snow. Ugh.
In Texas, yeah, you guys aren't used to that. It's crazy stuff. It's a crazy world we live in right now.
Right.
That's for sure. Yeah. And one of the things, since we are covering COVID, a game called COVID-20, and I'm looking right down below your stream here, and it says COVID-19. Get the latest information from the CDC about COVID-19. I do want to go ahead and say his final words, guys. Stay away from, stay safe out there. When I say protect yourself, stay safe out there. That's what I kind of mean, is make sure you're wearing your mask and your face mask, stuff like that. Don't get COVID, because it's horrible. Don't get COVID-19. And another thing too, stay the hell away from COVID-20 as well. It might be as bad or worse than COVID-19. Especially this developer who can't seem to handle any kind of fair critique or criticism.
With that said,
it's been a pleasure.
With that said, I'd like to thank you for coming on, Zaxter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And hold on, I may have a development right here. No. Okay. I would like to thank you for coming on, Zaxter. I have been Sanji Mura. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you would, please make the YouTube algorithm happy by subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys soon on the next W2 report.
Have a good one, everybody. Take care.
The end of the fight.